Hello and welcome back. Let's deep dive into giving feedback to community clips. What I love about the series is that you can improve and learn from others' mistakes, because I promise you there's always a theme on which you can improve upon, and we almost always make the same mistakes. Today's theme is seconds matter and making mistakes so you can learn. But you need to put yourself in those situations. Remember that. Now, real quick, if you want to be a part of the series, send your clips into the email in the description down below. Remember, footage quality will vary from submissions, but again, the goal is that we learn together. Now we got through that, let's get into it. All right, what's interesting about this first clip that we see here is that they're flying in. Now, the biggest mistake that I see right off the rip is a decision of where you go for loot. Now, let's backtrack here for 5 seconds. If we highlight here, there's many places to land. You can land on the bends on this side. You can land right here where you see there's a potential gun there. But you decide to land, unfortunately, in this spot where there's no loot. Unfortunately. I mean, you have the guns there, but most likely loot doesn't spawn there. But where you do go afterwards, like imagine if it's somebody landed on you opposite and they got a weapon. Now you go to these bends and you actually find your loadout, which is positive. Now make sure to keep your crosshairs always looking up so you can look around you, which is also very important. And now you can pretty much go into the fight. But because of that, the start of this, now if we look at this, is where your teammates are at. So if you look at that, we look in this upper right hand corner, your teammate is already in that fight. So unfortunately, you're a little late to the encounter. Now, what's interesting is that you said you won this round and you wanted feedback and notes. So that's what we're essentially going to do. You see your teammate is already moving in. And you see that somebody's located there. I know that you have a really high ping. That's very unfortunate. But you have to be more firm with your decisions to really capitalize on those mistakes. Now, this is an interesting decision. Let's go back to this. Whenever you go in, let's take a look where your eyes are essentially going. You see where your teammate's located, and you don't have necessarily any information as you move in. So if you move in, let's go look at this. Your eyes went to this location here, and you saw that bullets were flying. You made the decision not to look where the lifeline was getting shot, and when you moved in, you focused on the downed individual. Now the downside here is that you honestly could have gotten eliminated, which is pretty scary. Luckily, what happened here is you managed to flank this individual, and there was some moments here that you could have honestly made a better decision as well, where you need to heal. And if you don't heal, you are putting out your tactical, which isn't bad because you're trying to stop the opponents from pushing in. I respect that. Very, very important. When we're looking here, so you got your visual located there and your teammate's down, you wasted seconds from healing. So you misclimbed on the wall, seconds matter. And now what could happen is you could get thirded. You decide to finish this individual halfway through. Be firm on your decisions. Everyone who's watching, be very, very firm. Because you didn't finish that individual, you haven't healed, and you haven't rezzed. And your teammate needs help. Because of that, you could have also helped your teammate, because what if they didn't clutch out? What if they lost? Now, another issue that we see here is we're going to put the cursor over the healing here. You didn't swap armors, which is not a bad thing initially, because maybe you want to heal up your own armor. But look at the bottom left, how long it's going to take you to heal here. So if we keep going, you could have gotten thirded. You could have gotten thirded here. You still could have gotten thirded. Now, you're going to see this issue again here of how long it took you to kind of heal up and make that decision. And you still haven't topped off, when meaning you probably should have gone for the armor swap instead. Now, I do praise the fact that you were able to come over here and flank, which is also a positive. So if we look here, you have your angle, which you're trying to play the head glitch as best as possible. You got your knock. What I call here is a reset, and you do. You immediately should bat. Bat, bat, bat. But you wait. You should bat immediately. Reset. Healing is a priority. So I'm hovering my cursor over this. And I'm going to leave it here. This is something new that I'm doing for the episode. And I'll try to, there you go for the bat. Now the downside here is that you have no cover. You essentially went, you see where the target is here. You essentially went for the 1v1. And what if you didn't one mag him? Look how much health you did lose here. You want to play it safe. You want to go for the jump. Now you went in here, and luckily that person was low. Now, if, let's say they did less damage, you might have been in trouble. So we're going to skip here in just a moment. I'm going to put my cursor again over your health for how long it takes. Now, every time I skip forward, it's 5 seconds. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Oh my gosh, that's a minute. That's a minute that you haven't healed. Remember how fast you got run up on? That was already... That's how much time has passed and you haven't healed. This is a red flag. You gotta reset faster. You have to reset. If you don't reset, and I'm gonna just the importance, heal, soft reset. When I say soft reset, you gotta fight. You gotta fight for what you want. Otherwise, you're gonna get run up on. You're gonna be low HP. Remember to heal. Remember to take cover. Don't go for blind 1v1s. Otherwise, yes, you're kill leader. We hover over here. Awesome, you're kill leader. But at what cost? Remember that. Let's go into the next clip. Now for this next clip, in the email that was sent to me, it was highlighted that you felt that your aim wasn't a problem and had to do more with your positioning. So in this encounter, where you got into a fight here, unfortunately you did lose, but there was a lot of good moments that I'm going to praise, but there was also a lot of moments where, unfortunately, we ran into a lot of stopgaps. So right now, you don't know that a team is running up on you, which is always pretty natural, but remember to take a stance and take height. That's what I recommend, and look around. Look at your surroundings, because otherwise you would have caught these individuals off guard sooner. Good amount of damage. Remember, always work on your long range. Controller is going to have a more of an issue long range, so just remember that. So while you said you didn't feel like aiming was an issue, I would say here, this was a good beam. Now, the problem was you need to work on vaulting over. That's important. Did a lot of damage, and we're going to pause here because there's a hesitation that you have here. You hesitate here, and there's two things. You could have dropped down below here, but you decided not to. And going aside is not a bad thing if you're trying to reconvene with your teammates, but make sure you communicate with them, talk with them if you're not going to push and say don't drop down. But you do have two cracks. So if we look on the upper right-hand side here, we do see that two individuals have been cracked. So that's really good comms, the fact that you've already cracked some individuals. You should be confident knowing that you have the advantage here. So if you look here, you decide to slow it down, which is not bad. Now this could have been bad because you could have gotten flanked here. So if you look here, you got the knock. Now this time, for some reason, you decide to push in, which I find interesting. Based on what you see here, you see this individual's knock, but you don't have any intel if anybody's here. So if we zoom forward here, this is pure luck. This individual, what if they weren't flush? What if they actually soft reset and healed? Now, another problem is that you immediately go for the armor swap, which is fine, and your lifeline pushes. You should make an effective push with your lifeline. Just because your lifeline is also needing some help, probably, you know, clearly calming, you decide to go for an armor swap. The problem that I really see here in the clip is a hesitation. Remember that individuals who are knocked and making plays are going to call them that, oh my god, they're isolated, let's push them, let's push them, let's push them. That's part of the problem here, is that there wasn't really a firm decision, and usually opponents can tell when a firm decision isn't being made. You go for the armor swap and you have to reset, and that's where you essentially get knocked. But the hesitating on jumping on opponent in the right moments is really key. So if we look at the moment, you could have jumped down on this opponent because you still have the damage deficit. Granted, there could have been somebody down there, but you could have taken the angle. Let's put the pointer here. We could taken this angle here and look down below, but going towards the edge and waiting too long is where you kind of made the mistake, and then you essentially got flanked here, which is fine to go for the cleanup. But what I would call for here, once you got this knock, you got a bit of luck, reset and bat right now, and then you got your health back, which you kind of did. You did two decisions here, right? And that's really where the problem lied. Bat immediately. Went for the armor swap, not a problem. But if you're going to make a play and hold, make sure, do one of two things. Call for that lifeline to come back or make a play. All right? So tighten it up. Tighten up your decision making and be a little bit more firm with it, and don't hesitate. When you hesitate and wait, the opponent's just going to jump on you. You don't want that to happen, no matter what level. As you keep going up, people will notice those mistakes and they'll capitalize on it. All right? Let's go into the next and final clip. Now, this clip is really interesting because it's actually, from what I'm watching, really solid gameplay from a Watson. I was actually even watching, I was like, is this a flex clip? Is there even any feedback I can give? And then I finally saw what the problem was. So you got a really great beam, and I love the fact that you're peeking from multiple angles and you're committing to where you get the knocks. So very solid plays. You're resetting when you need to, and you're taking different spots to catch an opponent out. And when you hold, this is the moment from the last vantage, is that you kind of need to go on a decision. So the problem here is that you wanted the decision, but you used a bit of a mag to try to go for the knock. This is the most glaring mistake of where you're positioning. So the door where you're holding, you need to sit in the center of the door and you need to get your butt right on it. Otherwise, they'll be able to open it up, and you're going to see the mistake later as well in just a moment. But that's where you see, get ready. Once they run up, boom, door opens and you're caught off guard. That's the mistake. Now, another thing happened with your aim here, so we're going to rewind just a little bit, is a bit of panic shooting. Keep calm. Try not to panic. I know that's easier said than done, but in this situation, your shots were kind of going everywhere, and it was just out of sheer panic, probably like, how the heck did they open the door? And you might have gotten more of a beam, and you reset, which is fine. Just when you aim train, focus on trying to keep it calm. You try to get your butt right on the door, which is how he's able to get a shot through, which is really annoying. I know when doing door fights is super unfair. Something you have to kind of deal with by getting your butt more on the door. But you could have solved that from that angle to begin with, so it didn't happen. Otherwise, you would have had more of the opportunity, and this could have played out differently. Otherwise, I think your movement's pretty solid. Your decision making is on point. You're very quick to making a decision. That door just slipped you up, man. The door slipped you up, and as well as taking the shot, moving around the ankle. Remember that if somebody is knocked, that means that they're probably going to come and let them know where you're located. So if you're going to make the decision to finish the knock, you got to finish the knock and reposition, because you have to know when we look back at the seer. He's coming. There he is. He's over here. He's over here. He's over here. He's over here. You need to finish him and get out, because he's already given away your position. You got to find another spot. That you've already been caught out. And at that point, you either got to hold the door and make a decision. So, again, hopefully this series is helpful. Again, don't forget to submit more clips. I know we've taken a little bit of a break from this series for a little bit, and I really hope that you guys take the importance of every second really mattering, because it can make the difference between getting an extra bit of damage and clutching out and not. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode.